my pleasure this afternoon, to introduce our speaker. And Lida has been a friend for many, many years, and I've always held her in great respect. She comes from the marketing side of the business, but the importance of her message today is that there is a way to build your brand and build it with integrity in a way that matches what you really believe. And that really fits the Rotary model to a T. And Lida has been a featured speaker at a number of Rotary clubs, and just recently came back from Texas, where she addressed the zone meeting. So I'm looking forward to her message today. Clark Schultz, her son, sits right back there. He's 20 years old. I don't think he gets to see you give presentations very often. So please help me welcome, sidebar, Citroen. Your grandfather's uncle started Citroen Motors in France. So it really does fit. Lida Citroen.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Jim. Thank you. No, give me a hug. Of course. Well, thank you. And I take no credit for the car. So any of you engineers in the room who know how the lift works on a Citroen, nothing to do with me. Thank you so much for having me here today. I like to start off my program and tell you a story. And the story is about a woman named Olivia. And Olivia was a senior vice president of a very large company. And her team worked all around the country. And as it always happened, they got together every year at the holidays. This particular holidays, they were getting together, and some of her team members she had done most of her work with on the phone or hadn't really spent a lot of face time with. As it always happens with women, at some point, Olivia found herself going into the restroom. And she walked in, and she shut the stall door behind her as two women followed in. The first woman said, "Have you gotten to know Olivia Owens?" Well, my friend's all excited. Oh my gosh, she's going to hear a conversation about her. And the second woman said, "Yes, I have. Who the heck does she think she is?" And what Olivia listened to for the next couple minutes, trying as best she could to become invisible in that tiny little bathroom stall, she listened to two women who were on her team describe someone who was difficult to deal with and arrogant and pushy and aggressive. But that's not Olivia. Olivia's warm and community-focused and transparent and approachable, isn't she? What she learned in that moment was that her reputation was out of whack with the way people were experiencing her. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So as Jim mentioned, I have been doing this kind of work for more than 20 years. And I have been privileged to work for some of the best companies in Denver and around the world, including our own R&L Design, where I got some of my roots set early on. I enjoy the liberty of being a public speaker, an author, and a consultant to some of the top leaders in the country on branding, this concept of branding, which we're going to talk about today. I also wrote a book, and I have a DVD on the subject, and we are going to have some of those available for sale afterwards, and I just want to let you know that a percentage of every sale today is going to go back to this chapter, so I'll be donating that back. But what is a brand? I keep using this word. What does a brand really mean? Whether you're a company, a service, a product, or a person, your brand is the expectation that you set with an audience. What can I expect to feel about you? What is your promise? How does it tie to your values? What is the expectation of what I can believe I'm going to have if I work with you, or I buy your product, or engage with your service? Personal branding, which is really the focus of today's conversation, is a very simple process. Very simple. This is not rocket science. What we're about to walk through is extremely simple, but it's not easy. This is a journey, and the journey of uncovering the promise and the expectation that you set with key audiences is complex, and it's deep, and it's authentic. So it's a simple process, but it's not easy. And it's all about perception and judgment. So with all due respect to the mothers in the room who told your children it really doesn't matter what other people think about you, I'm that same mom, and I've had to eat those words because it does matter what people think about you. It matters how they judge you and how they perceive you. Because if I judge you to be someone who's difficult and hard to get along with and non-collaborative, I might not be willing to bring you into that project. I might not want to hire your company or give you a promotion into a leadership role in the organization. It's my perception. It's how I believe you to be, and that perception is real. It's also about judgment. And judgment's that awful thing that we try not to do, but as human beings, we do it instinctively. If I'm walking down a dark alley and somebody's walking towards me, that is a skill that I have learned instinctively to protect myself, right? Because if somebody's walking towards me, I have to judge them. Is this somebody I can feel safe with, or should I run and hide? It's real. What I'm going to teach you today is how you control that, how you can manage and do your best to manage the perception and judgment people have of you. It's in my best interest that you judge me as credible and professional. So I do everything I can, from the materials that I sent ahead of time, the headshot, the bio, to the way I present myself in my image, my language, my ability to make eye contact. All of those are in my control to be able to do the best I can to influence how you judge me. Now, this point about ensures you're not a commodity is always an interesting one. And the best example that I have about the whole commodity issue, if I was going to the grocery store and looking for laundry detergent, and let's say I'm walking down the aisle, and I don't care, tablet from liquid, from powder, from brand, it doesn't matter. Typically, I would buy on price, wouldn't I? Because all things considered equal, why would I pay more for one kind or one brand if, to me, they do the same thing? Well, as people, we don't want to be in that lineup. We don't want to be in a bid situation where somebody looks at Jim and Seth and says, they both have the same years in the industry, the same credentials, the same skill set, but Seth is $20,000 a year cheaper, so we'll go with him, because all things considered equal, right? We brand ourselves, and we make sure that our audience knows what makes us different and unique and compelling so that we can command higher dollars, so that we're not bid on fees, we're not bid on price. That's a big part of why we do personal branding. And ultimately, it's all about opportunities. I want to be in a position to choose. The clients that I work with, the people that I hire, the situations that I find myself in, I want choice. I want you to afford me opportunities that are right for me so that I can choose. I never want to be in a situation where I'm scrambling and lowering my fees and selling myself as something that's not authentic. So I make sure I have a strong personal brand in place. Now, there's a formula for credibility that I love to talk about, and I have sat with mathematicians and rocket scientists and said, give me something much more complex than this, because audiences won't believe that it's this simple to build credibility, but it really is. Tell me what